Welcome to another video blog where I am really just going to share some of the nuggets that I have written in my most recent blog. And I'm going to be joined by my young protege, Natty, who always likes to tease out questions and information from the blog, just so that you get the nuggets that he got. Okay, so on that note, Natty, are you in the house? Can you join us?
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Cool. So what did you think about the most recent blog?
I think you have been the most open in a single piece in a long time when you discussed the story about what you went through with losing access to your children, and then that actually causing you to go with your vision so much harder. Because usually when someone loses everything in a day, including access to their children, devastation.
Yeah, so let's just put it into context for those people who may not have read the actual blog and just want to cut straight to the chase. So really, I'm talking about the importance and the significance of a vision, but posed in the question, what are you actually living for? Like, do you know? Because many people actually don't know what they're living for. And so therefore, when they experience any challenges or hardship, it can literally knock you for six, as opposed to when you've asked yourself that question, what are you living for? And you've been in pursuit of getting the answer, because many people ask themselves a question, but very few ask themselves the questions and then do something tangibly about it to get the answer or to find the answer.
Yeah.
And that's really what this blog was about, invoking and promoting the idea that the people that usually turn out to be winners generally are the people who ask themselves that question and then done something about it. So yes, coming back to what you were saying now, in terms of when I asked myself that question and began to get clarity around that, when I got hit by losing everything in one day, including access to my children and all my possessions, yes, that should have been a takedown, but fortunately for me, I used that to supercharge my vision and gain clarity of my purpose. And that's really what I wanted to share with people, because we're living in really turbulent times. And if you as an individual haven't built something within you to be able to withstand the turbulence, you're just going to get blown off course and you might not ever be able to come back on course.
And I feel like, a good way that you demonstrated how to identify and really find what your vision is, you put some steps in the very beginning, and you said, identify your gifts, talents, and abilities. Then you said, this will lead you to discover your passion. And then when you find your passion, you find your purpose and your vision.
Yeah.
You've labeled out step by step how it works. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's just really based on how it worked for me. Now, that might take you, in my case, it took me literally decades. And my whole work now is really around helping people to collapse time. So you don't have to take 30 years like it took me, but we can do it. As you know, we can do that in months, that process, helping you identify your gifts, your talents, and your abilities, allowing them to help you identify your passion, then working your passion. And as a result of working your passion, it then leads you to get a glimpse of your purpose. And then when you've got all of that, then you now have to figure out how to package all of that into a product or a service or a business, which puts you at the top of your game, because now you're doing what you love. It's got your gifts. It allows you to show your gifts, your talents, your abilities, your passion. Everything is in there. So you're now playing to win.
Yeah, I like what you said, the playing to win.
Well, yeah, because then at the end of all of that, what then happens when you gift it to the world says, wow, and pays you. And so ultimately, then it leads to profits.
Yes.
So it's really down to the individual as to how quickly or not the case may be, like how quickly do you want to get to that point? Do you want to take your time and take the scenic route? And that might take you 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Or do you want to take the shortcut? And that will be collapsing time. But obviously there's going to be costs associated with that, because you probably will want and need a coach or a mentor who can just give you the fast lane.
Yeah. Something else that really stood out to me from the bulletin, what a gem that I got from it was, your vision should always be bigger than the obstacles you face. Because even along my journey with you for the past 8 years, there has been obstacles where I've been concerned, but it's about how dedicated you are to identifying or finding out your vision or who you are as a person to get that gift that you can give to the world.
Ultimately comes down to, what do you want? Like, do you know what you want? And if it's a case of what you want is really tangibles, perishables, things that you can just buy, house, car, and that sort of stuff, if that's what you want, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if what you want is coming from a deeper place in terms of who you want to become, then yeah, it's really important that you have that level of clarity. It all comes down to clarity. The more clear you are, the stronger the chance that you're not going to be thrown off course. You're going to be grounded. And so when the storms and the turbulence comes, you're going to be rooted and be able to achieve that success that you want ultimately.
What's also very unique about this, it's about success business 3.0 that Michael Beckwith touched on, because this doesn't follow the path of get a business and make money. This is identify who you are and then use your given gifts that are inside of you to the world.
Yeah.
Actually,
and that may mean, as it was the case for me, so I was doing exactly that back in, what was it, 1999, 2000. And then what I was delivering to the world was so expansive that I was then literally forced to have to set up an organization to be able to house it. So that's now, it's still me being expanded, but now the business, the company, is a structure that allows it to be done in an organized way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and that's the best way to grow, I think, a business in today's world.
I agree, and I see it daily.
Yeah, as opposed to just trying to get money.
Yeah. So you also touched on a few people or artists that you signed to that company that reneged on their deals, their contracts with you.
Yeah.
And that is what I would call a big obstacle, because you've invested money in these individuals and they signed the contract with you and then decided to bounce.
Yeah, well, I shared that story because, one, I wanted to let people know that, I'm not just trying to talk from a place of, just talking. I've actually gone through that experience or experiences, and everyone's going to have their own different experience, but the feeling, we will all be able to identify that feeling. You're going to feel pissed, that's happened, but it's a case of, what do you do? In my case, we were talking about millions of pounds, and what it done for me, it gave me the opportunity, and this is really the point that I really wanted to make, that help people understand that pain is a part of the mix. So pain is gonna come, challenges are gonna come. It's how you deal with those and how you respond to those that's gonna make all the difference. So in my case, I had to think to myself, are these boys, JLS, are they going to take me off my purpose? Meaning, am I going to look at the money that potentially some have said that I lost as a result of not being able to take the matter to court. And for that reason say, well, I'm going to come off my purpose, which is about investing in people and empowering people, or am I going to learn the lesson and allow that to make me come back harder, stronger, wiser, but even more committed to my purpose?
Yeah, I think the way you just worded that was perfectly spot on, because you said pain is a part of the mix. And then you went on to explain how you dealt with that situation. And you asked yourself some very compelling questions. I don't think many people would identify as compelling is, would I let this obstacle take me off of my purpose? The same purpose that you've been spending years to cultivate.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But you know, that's why I gave you the step formula, because you can only ask your question. You can only ask the question of yourself like that when you found your purpose.
Right.
If you haven't found your purpose and you're just doing stuff and things are working out and you're having a good time, you're making money, then when you stop making money, then it all goes crazy. Do you see my point? And so you could find yourself anywhere. But when you're on your purpose and you know, okay, this is starting to be a pattern, like this is what I'm about. I know how I feel when I'm in that flow, helping people and making, you know, supporting people, seeing them in one state, and then literally being able to be privileged to see them transform and blossom. Yeah, that's a special gift to be able to be in that space. And I want to be able to do more of that. You know, there's nothing more than a person can do than to inspire someone to action. And that was your boy Nipsey, who said something along those lines, right?
Yes.
Right. So I discovered that, you know, many years ago, and hence the reason why I've never left that path.
Yeah. And you know, for you sharing that story, or another gem I got from it is, if pain is part of the process, obstacles are going to get bigger. So if the obstacles are going to get bigger, the vision has to get bigger. So you always need to ensure that your vision is always bigger than the obstacle. If you come across an obstacle that you think may be bigger, then revisit your vision, remap it, and expand it.
And that's why you know that I'm always on about vision, you know, the importance of having a vision. We, you know, reference the good book. It says that it's written in black and white in the Bible, Habakkuk 2, verse 2, where it says, write down your vision. And so that's what we do through our programs. You know, the 5-day challenge is really just to introduce the idea of that to people, because many people actually don't have their vision clear or at all. So we want to start from that place. But then once you begin to get a glimpse of your vision, then the next thing really is to make sure that your vision is clear and your goals are aligned to your vision. And I should say visions, because as you know, on the Mind Reset 90-day challenge, then that's what we're looking at, multiple visions that you can hold simultaneously and goals. And it looks like a whole complex thing, but when you do it using our system, it literally puts your life on steroids.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it's about.
Yeah. So those are all the gems. I'm saying all like it wasn't a lot, but those are all the gems that
there's a few there. There's definitely a few there. And we can, again, through this, you know, video format, I definitely want to encourage people to join our 5-day challenge, because this is, as you know, this is the first time we're doing something like this, but I can already see that this will be a really useful way for people to just get a sense of what I'm saying. It's free. And so they can just come spend 5 evenings with us and see if it actually makes sense. Because there's a new way of doing things. It's not just about being smart. It's about being smart and wise and consciously aware of who you are and what you're about. So, I mean, do we need to give them the details for the link, or will it'll be below the video?
I'll put the information for the next 5-day challenge in the description.
Cool. All right. So, and then in part 2, I'll be talking about, in next month's blog, I'll be talking about the steps that led me over the last 10 years to this point, and the challenges that, some of the challenges, not all of the challenges, because I don't want to beat people up, but some of the challenges that we face. And so really just proving the point that you made, the challenges will always be there. Anyone who's looking to step into something where there's going to be no challenges, you might as well just go and lay down and die. There's always going to be challenges. But what you can do is begin to build yourself up so that you're somewhat immune to challenges, or you're ready for challenges and anticipate them. Now you're stronger.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we want. And that's what we
It's all
need.
about how you react to challenges that may seem painful at the time. How you
I'd
respond.
I'd go one step further in saying it's all about how you respond even to those challenges.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing and teasing and picking out the points that worked for you. I hope that others will kind of meditate on those same points, or even read the whole blog and find their own nuggets in there for themselves.
Yeah. It's good.
Cool. All right. Thanks, my man. And we'll do it next time.
Yeah. See you next one.
All right. Bye for now.